Okay, in the previous video, we discussed about the different years based on the position of the sun at different reference points. We have classified the year into three. Similarly, we can define the month based on the passages of moon at different reference points. So we'll consider the position of this moon at different reference points. We can define the month, and there are four kinds of month we can define here. One is called the synodic month, sidereal month, anomalistic month, and nodical month. Remember, in the case of year, we can have 3 years, namely tropical year, sidereal year, and anomalistic year. The word sidereal actually refers to the reference point with respect to the fixed stars. The anomalistic year actually refers, or anomalistic actually refers to the position of the apogee, that is the greatest distance of the object from the earth. So if we are considering sun year, if we are considering the year, the sun is the object. So when sun is at farther distance, that is at apogee, we call it as the successive time interval between the two apogee is called the anomalistic year. Similarly, here also we can have this sidereal month and anomalistic month. The definitions are the same. That means the reference points are the same for these two terms. So first of all, let's discuss these 4 months, different types of month. Here I told you the month actually based on the position or the passage of moon at different reference points. So the reference object is the moon, and we can have 4 different positions for defining different months based on the passage of moon. So first one is the synodic month. The synodic month is actually the time interval between 2 successive new moons. Actually, a new moon is that when the moon is in conjunction with the sun, its dark hemisphere is turned towards the earth and no portion of the illuminated half of the moon is visible. For example, if you consider this is sun, and here we are having moon, and our earth is here. Suppose earth is here. Now we can see moon or the illumination of the moon from earth. When the light from the sun reaches the moon is reflected back to earth, then we can see the illuminated part of the moon. But when you consider this sun and earth line, and when moon comes in this line, that is called the moon is in conjunction with the sun and the earth, then the sunlight is falling on this hemisphere, and this hemisphere which is facing towards the earth is actually dark. So now illuminated portions of the moon can be seen from the earth when the moon is in conjunction with the sun, or when moon comes in the line between the earth and the sun. So that is called new moon. So actually in the new moon we cannot see the moon, or we can say that no illuminated part of the moon is visible during the moon. Only the dark hemisphere of the moon is visible during the new moon. So this time interval between 2 successive new moon is called the synodic month. It is otherwise called lunar lunar month. You may be heard about the lunar calendar, or you may you know that Muslims are following a lunar month based on this new moon and full moon. The new moon is the starting of a month, and full moon is the middle of a month, and next new moon comes the starts with the end of the that month. So lunar month is otherwise called a synodic month. So the synodic month is exactly 29.506 mean solar days. What actually the solar day is not defined as so far. We will discuss it while discussing the different days. So anyway, just remember that one synodic month is 29.5306 mean solar days. Now let's consider the sidereal month. While discussing the year, we mentioned about the sidereal year. Sidereal actually refers to the reference object is at the position with respect to a fixed stars. So here the reference point is actually the fixed stars. So definitely sidereal month will be the time taken by the moon to complete one circuit around the earth relative to the fixed stars. So that means it gives the true period of revolution of the moon around earth, or we can say that the sidereal month gives the actual time taken by the moon to complete one revolution around the earth, or the period of revolution, the actual period of revolution of the moon round the earth is given by the sidereal month. So sidereal month is the time taken by the moon to complete one circuit around the earth relative to the fixed stars. One sidereal month is equal to 27.3217 mean solar days. Now come to the next one, which is called the anomalistic month. In the case of anomalistic year, we know that it is the time interval between the two successive passages of the moon at apogee, that is when sun is at greatest distance. Here the anomalistic month is the time interval between two successive passages of the moon through the apogee. That means moon is at apogee, moon is at the greatest distance. When an object is greatest distance from earth, its angular diameter will be least. So anomalistic month can also be defined as the interval between the positions of the moon when its angular diameter is least, or the successive positions of the moon when the angular diameter of the moon is least. So the anomalistic month is the time interval between two successive passages of the moon through the apogee. So this word anomalistic actually here refers to the reference point of apogee. One anomalistic month is given by 27.5546 mean solar days. And one more month is defined in such a way that it is based on the position of the moon at the ascending node. To understand the ascending node, let's consider this diagram. Here you can see that a plane represented by equatorial plane, which is a faint ellipsoid here, which actually represents the equator of the celestial sphere. Celestial sphere is actually the sphere around the earth that we can see as a dome. So here this earth is at the center, and this is the equatorial plane. Now if you consider any satellite like moon, which is revolving around the earth, it is again in an elliptical orbit. Now if we consider the orbit of this satellite, that is represented by the blue line, and this is the point of apogee and this is the point of perigee. And when you consider this point and also this point is represented by the ascending node, which actually the angular position at which the moon passes from the southern side of the reference plane to the northern side of the reference plane, or this is the actual reference plane and these are the southern part of the reference plane, and these are the northern part of the reference plane. So at this point the satellite or the moon passes from the southern part of the reference plane to the northern part, which is called ascending node. And when you consider this point, at this point the moon travels from the northern part of the reference plane to the southern part of the reference plane, which is called a descending node. So this is the ascending node. So with reference to this ascending node, we can define a month, and which is called a nautical month. So nautical month is the time interval between two successive passages of the moon through the ascending node. So one nautical month is given by 27.2122 mean solar days. So ascending node is actually the angular position of the moon at which it passes from the southern side of the reference plane to the northern side. This ascending node and descending node, inclination, etc. are some of the orbital elements that must be specified in order to define the orientation of the elliptical orbit of any object. So that's all about the different months. Now we have to define the day. As you know that Earth is having a rotation about its own axis. So the Earth's rotation about its own axis provides a basis for keeping time using the astronomical observation, which is called the day. You know that the phenomenon of day and night occurs due to the rotation of Earth around the rotation of the Earth about its own axis. So we can define based on this rotation, and this rotation we will use some reference point. So based on the difference in the reference point, we can define two types of day. One is called solar day, then another one is called the sidereal day. Because sidereal means it is with reference to the fixed stars, which actually gives the actual or true period of rotation or revolution, whatever may be. So we'll show you why the solar day will not give the actual period of rotation. So if solar day gives that actual period of rotation, there is no need to define then the sidereal day, but here there is a difference when we consider the sun as the reference point. So in the case of a solar day, we will choose the sun as the reference point or reference object here. The solar day is defined as the time interval of Earth's rotation using the sun for the reference. That means it is the time required for two successive meridian transit by the sun. That means if you consider this as Earth, and suppose there is a meridian here and a person standing here starts his time when he sees the sun at one point and exactly above his meridian, and when he stops his watch when the sun reappears above his meridian, then it will give the rotation, period of rotation of Earth with respect to the sun as the reference object, which is called the solar day. So the solar day is the time required for two successive meridian transit by the sun. Actually, what we are observing is that when a person standing here sees that the sun is moving, so when sun appears in his overhead, he starts his watch, and when sun come back to the same position, he stops his watch, then his watch will show a time, that is the solar day. And it is actually, we know that we are taking the solar day as 24 hours. So this 24 hours actually does not represent the true period of rotation of Earth about its own axis. In order to understand it, let's define this sidereal day. Then I will show you how we can define this difference. The sidereal day, it measures the time interval of Earth's rotation using the stars for reference, or the fixed stars as the reference point. That means it is the time interval required for a star to cross your meridian 2 times successively, or it is the time for Earth to complete one whole turn in space, which is given by actually 23 hours 56 minutes and 4 seconds. That means a solar day is exactly 3 minutes and 56 seconds, or about 4 minutes is longer than a sidereal day, because while Earth rotates on its axis, it also moves along in its orbit around the sun. So Earth must complete slightly more than one whole turn in space before the sun reappears on your meridian. To understand it, just consider this is the orbit of Earth, and suppose sun is at this point. This is sun. Suppose Earth is here. Suppose this is the meridian. So person will see the sun above his meridian when Earth is at this position. Then when Earth rotates, it also moves along the orbit. So in one day, around less than a degree will move, or this will be less than a degree. The angular distance moved by the Earth in one day will be less than a degree, just below 1 degree. Anyway, Earth will reach here. So when Earth rotates, completes its one whole turn in space, the meridian will be here. So the person will at this meridian will not see the earth, will not see the sun. To see the sun, the earth must rotate little more, so that the meridian must reach at this line. So when the meridian reaches along this line only, this person standing on the meridian sees the sun over his head. So that means the earth has to rotate a little more. That means the little more than 360 degree to see the sun over his head, because this much distance have been moved. If it is not moving, when it is here itself or stationary and rotating at this point alone, then exactly when it turns 360 degree, it can see the sun. But when it reaches at some point here, it has to move a little more distance or rotate a little more distance to see the sun on his overhead. So we can say that this sidereal day will be little less than the solar day, or solar day will be little longer than the sidereal day, because in order to see the sun, the earth has to rotate little more than 360 degree, as the earth is revolving around the sun along the rotation. So we can say that sidereal day is the actual true period of rotation of earth, which is given by 23 hours 56 minutes and 4 seconds, which is actually less than the solar day. So the solar day is the time interval of Earth's rotation using the sun for reference. And it gives the time interval of Earth's rotation using the sun for reference. That means it is the time interval required for sun to cross your meridian 2 times successively, which is called the solar day. If it is a fixed star, then it is called, that is the time interval required for a fixed star to cross your meridian 2 times successively is called a sidereal day. So that's all about day. So far we have discussed about year, month and day. Now we have to discuss about the different seasons on earth and the reason for appearing different seasons on earth, that we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.